All right, good afternoon, everyone. 2:43, just about on our Wednesday afternoon. 2 o'clock update from the Hurricane Center came in. 80-mile-per-hour Hurricane Helene. We had that as of 11 o'clock this morning. Same wind speed as well. Pressure is actually up a millibar. Was from 979 to 980. It's definitely going to get stronger. When it goes up, it's getting weaker, but it will get stronger. Cat 1 winds right now, and it's moving to the north-northwest at 10 miles per hour. You can see the rain bands coming, but look at this picture on the visible satellite, guys. The clouds outside over most of Florida. Look at the western panhandle does not have clouds from this storm. You get over towards, well, Pensacola, all the way over to Jacksonville, all the way down to Miami, all seeing clouds at least from the hurricane at this spot. This is the potential bad part about the storm. It's so big. And so the winds here will be very tight and very fast, but it will push a lot of water towards the coast because of the overall size of this storm. So you can see pretty good convection, especially on the north side here. Eventually we're going to wrap around some dry air, but that's not going to happen for another 12 hours or so. This thing's pretty much off to the races, and the forecast does call for it to continue to get stronger. The darker reds here, the brighter reds, that's taller thunderstorms. And you can see them wrapped right around the center. It's a little bit of wedge of dry air in here, but I think that'll get washed away, and we'll end up looking at it continuing to get stronger. Here's the forecast. Now, this was from the 11 p.m. track. We'll get a new track update at 5 p.m. this evening. 100-mile-per-hour wind. So they have it strengthening right now so that by 6 o'clock it has 100-mile-per-hour winds. 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, 120-mile-per-hour winds, Cat 2. Landfall tomorrow evening just after sunset up in the Panhandle with 125-mile-per-hour winds. That was a higher number, and that was as of the 11 a.m. update today as well. So you can see the center generally stays off of our coast, but again, it's going to be pushing a lot of wind and water in our direction. So storm surge warning for us. The pink that you see here, that is a hurricane warning. Pasco, Hernando, Citrus for the coast. Everybody else is under a tropical storm warning. Pinellas and Hillsborough, parts of Manatee, under a hurricane watch, right? So we're going to get winds in the 40s and 50s, but gusts in the 70s certainly are possible. Hurricane warnings go up into southwest Georgia, way up into southwest Georgia. The warning means we expect winds in the 70s at least. So this is going to come in as a Cat 3 major hurricane, and it takes a time for it to get weaker and weaker, which means it's going to drag all kinds of wind and weather into Georgia as it moves in tomorrow night. Now, storm surge is going to be the biggest issue, I think, for us. They have raised the numbers for Pasco and Hernando County up to 8 to 12 foot of storm surge. Okay, that was a little less than that, about 7 to 10 the last, 12 to 18 hours or so. They also increased it for Citrus County, 12 to 18-foot storm surge, probably on the lower side of that, but that's a lot of water, okay? 5 to 8, Pinellas and Hillsborough inside the bay. Guys, we have not seen that in years, right? If that comes to fruition, and hopefully it won't, hopefully it'll be a little bit lower than this, but if that happens, it's going to be something we haven't seen in decades, okay? So that's not a good number for us. 4 to 7, you get down to Manatee, especially Sarasota County, and then 3 to 5, and you get down towards Fort Myers, even less than that towards Marco. Now, when's this going to happen? Here's the tides for tonight and tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon, 2 p.m., the winds start to blow on shore more. That blows water towards the coast. The water comes up. There's a high tide in the morning at 9 o'clock or so, and the water's really not going to go down because the wind's going to be pushing that water up. The tide drops a little bit, but it'll be fighting that, and it's just going to cut off a little bit of this. That's when we'll see that 5 to 8 foot storm surge. This is 5:20 p.m. Thursday. We'll be right in the thick of it, and I think especially, say, 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. through about 10 p.m., that's when we'll see that surge. We had 2 to 4 feet of storm surge for Idalia last year. Do you remember that? This could be almost double that. Idalia had a small window of surge. It didn't stick around that long. This will stick around longer. All right, and it's Thursday afternoon, late afternoon, but Thursday evening and night through about 11 p.m. Then slowly past midnight, the waters will start to come down as the winds come down. Now, FloridaDisaster.org, HCFL.gov. FloridaDisaster.org, you can go there and type in your address. It'll tell you your zone. This is a map live from that website right now where the red is level A. This is what is expected to be evacuated. They started that as of 9 o'clock this morning for Pinellas County. These are the beaches. There's Reddington Beach right there, Boca Ciega. You can see all the way down to St. Pete Beach there. Everywhere where you see red is under a evacuation order right now in Pinellas County. Okay, so if you're not exactly sure what your zone is, go to floridadisaster.org, or you can go to pinellas.gov is another great site. That'll give you all the kind of information. Hillsborough is hcfl.gov as well. Welcome to hurricane country, right? This is your responsibility to know your address, what zone you're in, and that way you know if you're asked to evacuate, please do so. Run from the water, hide from the wind. If you're in zone A, run from the water, which means, yes, please evacuate, because you have to get out of the way of the water. If you're in zone B, C, D, we're not asked to evacuate right now, so just stay there, hide from the wind. We don't need everybody on the road trying to get out from the water. We only need level A, right, because they have to get out of the way. Everybody else just kind of hunker down a little bit. Evacuate tens of miles. You don't need to go to Orlando. You can stay right here in the Tampa area. Just get out of level A, especially get over, into higher ground. That's the smartest thing to do. Now, this is the wind field, and that's over 250 miles wide. And this is the forecast from the Hurricane Center. That's the issue. The wind is highest right out here. We're not going to get those highest winds if it goes right up here, right? We're not going to get them here. But we are seeing those winds blow water out here, and it's going to blow that water right up to the coast. And it's a lot of area that is pushing water. And that's one of the factors when you start looking at how surge is. How high does the surge get? You look at how fast is the wind, how much size of the water is the wind blowing on, and that's this size, and how long is that happening? Because the longer that happens, the more water it pushes. And in this scenario, that's a pretty good bet that it's going to be quite a bit of water, and that's why those numbers are so high. So you can see as we get into 5 o'clock on Thursday, that's really when the winds start blowing back onshore, and that's when that surge number will really start to come up. Then, this is 8 p.m. Winds will slowly, after I'd say sunset, about 9, 10 o'clock really though, the winds will start to come down in speed. They will still be blowing onshore. The water will still be high, but some of it will start to come down just a little bit. That's about 11 p.m. on Thursday. And then after that, water levels will be coming down. Okay, so surge is going to be the major issue. Now getting ready for the storm. Today's the day. Evacuate. Today's the day. The tropical storm force winds get here as we get into tomorrow morning around 8, 9 in the morning. All right, that means winds close to 40. I think it'll be 20s and 30s with gusts in the 40s as early as mid-morning tomorrow. By the afternoon, 2, 3 o'clock, winds sustained in the 30s easily. Gusts in the 50s. Then eventually in the evening hours, we will see winds in the 70s for gusts, okay? Here's what that looks like. 8 a.m. on Thursday morning, 4 p.m. Thursday afternoon. See our winds now in the 20s to near 30 with higher gusts. These are steady winds. And then watch as we get into 6 p.m., 30s and 40s for winds. Right along the immediate coast, we'll have the highest wind. Sebring 33, almost 50 in Tampa. Get the idea? Further inland you go, the less wind you'll see. And this is our in-house model, which is actually closer to us, which means more wind than what most of the other models are somewhere out in here. So that would lessen our wind just a little bit, but I think these numbers actually look pretty good to me. The forecast, you can see it here too as we get into tonight. It will start to get breezy. The blue numbers are the gusts, but generally it's just kind of breezy as we get into tonight. All right, here comes the rain. One more look at it right now. You can see the showers coming through this afternoon, this evening. That's around 1 in the morning. We'll get more showers and storms, especially tomorrow afternoon and early evening hours. About 3 to 6 inches of rain is expected, but some areas will get more than that.